Welcome to Disrupt Everything podcast series. Welcome to this new way of reinventing yourself, interviewing worldwide disruptors and global leaders. We are here one more time, for fourth time in the Shaolin Temple Europe. But this is the third time I have the pleasure and the honor to interview Headmaster and Grandmaster Shi Heng Yi on the Shaolin Temple Europe. Thank you for having the chance to be interviewed again in the podcast, Shifu. It's been...
Only Headmaster, not Grandmaster.
Only Headmaster.
But still thank you.
Okay. Here with the Headmaster of Shaolin Temple Europe, Shi Heng Yi. It's been 2 years since last time we saw each other. And I wanted to use this short interview for do a catch-up. Last time we were getting romantic with love, and this time we're gonna get just to remember and to have a journey with you in these 2 last years. What's been going on since 2021, 2022, and 2023?
Yes. So to make it really short, in a way, I think within the last 2 years we have also quite become a little bit more known. There have been quite a lot of different interviews and podcasts as well, which means afterwards, when they were published, more people knew about us, also meaning more people came to visit us, and which is all a very nice development, and I'm happy that it went this way. But of course, at the same time, I can also realize that meanwhile, I have shared out within the last 3 years, 4 years, also starting with the podcast that we had. I started already sharing out actually more or less everything, what at the moment I think is enough to start your, let's say, personal decision. Because, it's not the amount of information that is like missing or that is available on the internet. It is ultimately the question if you are finally willing to take any of this knowledge that is out there and try to make it into a transformation and try to bring some change into your life. And also meaning that everything needed for someone who is interested to change something about his body, change something about the way how the mind is functioning, it's all out, at least when it comes to the methods and the knowledge that we are using here in the Shaolin Temple Europe. So, which means for the next upcoming time, I think it's gonna become a little bit less of what is being shared out. Doesn't mean it's something bad, just means that everything that's out, it's there already. So I can only encourage people that want to know more about how come that you are spending already the 4th time with us, what is so interesting about it. I think everything is out. So if you want to do some research about it, yes, I think you will find it all on the internet already.
I would love to ask you, what is the most in these 3 years, so much sharing, so much traveling, so many people coming into the temple. What's been the most common patterns that you've been seeing in the world, that sometimes we're in a hurry, sometimes we don't pay attention? So people, do you have the sense people is lost? Do you have the sense people is not being disciplined enough? What are the common behaviors that most strike you on what you were seeing in the world, on what is needed and what is the offering?
So there are too many different people in this world who grow up differently, who have different backgrounds, which therefore also means I can't speak for the humanity as such. What are they missing? Some people have it, some people don't have it. Some people are missing this area a little bit more than other ones. The only observation I can maybe share with you is it has never changed, and it has always been like this, that there is no other way than dealing with what we call the yin and the yang of this life. No matter what you are deciding for, what you want to push forward, if you think you want to fill up a certain gap, a certain hole in your life, there's always something that goes hand in hand with it. What I mean, for example, is in the moment you want to share out knowledge to the masses. The price, let's say, that you're also like taking at the same time is masses, meaning there are many. Many meaning more and more you will realize, even if many are listening to your teachings, many are listening to what you are sharing, but only a few always at the end also go to take action. And so for me, my observation is I can either concentrate in bringing it out to the masses, or I can concentrate on taking individual, less people, but therefore give them more direct guidance. So no matter what, there is no good or bad. It all has advantages. You know, if you share to the masses, you reach more people. If you share to individuals, you get more depth. What is more important now? More people with the ability to change, or less people that surely change? And this is one question that I have to always ask myself, having to deal with so many different people also like in the last years. And this is also for me where I'm trying to really figure out a way, okay, on the one side, I want that as much people as possible have the availability, that if they want to have some knowledge to start improving something about their life, they should have it. But at the same time, I can also witness it's not enough. Sometimes it's also important to have a direct guide, a direct teacher, a mentor, something with you who at least who walked the way already, and who can sometimes, like, you know, pull you, push you in the direction, because this teacher, this mentor, for example, this coach, he know already, he went through it already. Yes, and this is what I think at the moment is, let's say, the point where I'm trying to find out a way. Yeah, there are many people interested in all of these teachings, but I also see if they are let alone for them to just like try out, but they have no direct guidance, it can also go into the wrong direction sometimes. You know, I think most of the videos, for example, that has been shared out in the past, in many of them, I'm talking about different type of philosophies, different type of theories, different type of methods that are involved in the practices. And I realize people actually, they like to hear when I talk, but they don't like to do the practice. You know? And this is like the next transition where I need to find a way to even more encourage the people, okay, listen, to hear about these things is really nice, I understand, but even nicer than that is if you start like experiencing the effects of what these practices will do for you. And that means the practice. And so therefore, within the next years, this is also going to be the emphasis of our organization, of the teachers that are involved in here. We want people to more experience that this is not just about talking all the time, okay? The talking is just there to get some interest. Now it's time to put the action behind. And this is what is missing. The world is full of knowledge. We are not missing knowledge anymore in this world. We are missing that transition, that knowledge must be put into a practical and functional way into your everyday life, that because this is where like the benefit starts to show up, you know. The benefit's not gonna come later in paradise. The benefit is supposed to come right now. You do the practice, tomorrow something's changed already in your life, in the way how you feel. This is what we want. Not waiting. Waiting all the time is terrible.
Was that the reason you created the self-mastery program? I started in November, and it's from the very beginning you have tools to start this practice. Can you tell us more about this self-mastery online program that is very well thought and also very well explained in the program and very practical?
Okay.
And what is about?
In the core of everything that we are doing, that I am doing, that the teachers inside this monastery are doing, we want to give out methods to help improve whatever you think needs improvement in your life. So the best way how to do it is, if we can sit next to each other, I can look at your body, I can touch your body, I can feel where is it strong, where is it weak, I can see how are you moving. This direct way means if you have the chance to come and visit us here, that would be, I think, the best investment first of all, to have a one-on-one possibility to see where you are. But not everybody has the financial possibilities to travel here and then also to stay for a long time. This is the reason why at the same time we started sharing out so many different free practices. You know, on YouTube you find like so many different videos with exercises already, with explanations and instructions. With one downside, because everything is free, you can choose. One day you're in the mood to do it, so then you watch the video, you do it. Next day you have muscle ache, you don't do it. So that means the freedom of choice, also not good. So therefore, there was something we created and thought about. We want to have like a dedicated program. Dedicated meaning you are saying for yourself, okay, for 1 year, for 12 months, I try to keep a type of structure. And this 12 months, this is what this Shaolin online program is about. We have structured within 1 year, we have different theory modules and different practical modules as well. So it's about practice, it's about understanding, it's about structure, it's about the philosophy behind it. It's about integrating it for 1 year into your daily life with different workbooks where you can track your thoughts and all of these things. Because the main point about all of these practices, I think, is how do you know that these exercises, these methods are like really doing something for you? How do you know it? You know when they have become an integral part of your daily life. Yeah? If the philosophy doesn't play any role at the moment for you, then it just means it's not in your life. You're not living it. You know it, but you're not living it. And so this program is just to give insight. How does it feel if for 1 year long, and now just 1 year is not much, okay? But at the same time, it's not free, that you have like in a way choice, like on YouTube, let's say. But if you take the decision you want to do something, I think this is the best entrance right now that we offer from our side, unless you're also able to come here. And the content of these 12 months, it's all the basics and it's all the fundamentals. If you're interested in Qigong practice, in breathing exercises, in cultivating your energy, in cultivating body awareness, in increasing the flexibility of the body, in learning different moving patterns to help with the coordination of the body. If you want to understand better, what does it mean if body and mind are in harmony, if the breath, the intention, and the movement are in harmony, what does it have to do with the Kung Fu also? Yeah, when it becomes more physical. I think this is it's the shortest, yes, it's the shortest and most comprehensive way in that 12 months that I can explain to you, because it just involves everything that I think is giving the basics, no matter what you will do afterwards. Even if you practice yoga many years already, you practice taekwondo, karate, any other martial arts, because the fundamentals, the foundation of all of this practice is, first of all, understand more about your physical body, at the same time understand more about your mental areas, your emotional areas, because this is what every human being, what we have through our lifetime. Yeah, doesn't matter if you play football afterwards, if you play tennis, or if you make martial arts. If you don't know what you have, you cannot reach the full potential of any activity that you're doing. This is what I consider as the foundation of investing a year to get to know yourself better in all the areas that nowadays we have access to. Yes.
And you are going to publish a book called Shaolin Spirit, if I recall well. What is a Shaolin Spirit, and how people can start developing this kind of spirit in themselves, and why you think it's important?
Okay. Ever since we started sharing out the knowledge of the Shaolin arts, let's say, of what we are also training here for ourselves, I have always tried to mention, listen everyone, all of these things, this is not my teaching. This is nothing that comes in a way that, how I say, that Shi Heng Yi has created. No, it's just that Shi Heng Yi is talking about the things, is sharing the things out that is already existing. Everybody could have done it. The only difference is I did it. Which also means that sometimes people then, they don't like the teaching. They are not interested more or less in the teaching. They're, let's say, more interested in getting to know me. Where I say, don't do this. Yeah, because Shi Heng Yi is also just the name. Yeah, one day it would also disappear. What is not going to disappear is the spirit of the teachings. Yeah, it's the spirit of what is all of this about. What do we want with all of these Shaolin teachings? These are methods brought to humanity to increase your physical, mental, spiritual, emotional areas if you want to develop them. If this is what you want, there you have the methods. This is the spirit. The spirit to raise up all the potential that you as a human being have. And that spirit, this wisdom, what is present all the time, sometimes you meet people that can share this out. But they only share what anyway all the time has been there. This is the Shaolin spirit. This is what I want the people to understand. Stop liking me, like the teaching. The teaching is what will stay forever, what cannot stop. The principles of the teaching is what is so valuable. Yeah, I don't know how else to say, because this teaching is just, it's ultimate.
And two last questions before ending. One is how people can start building an attitude, a strong mindset, unstoppable spirit. How in this world that we are so carried away by things, where people can start with from.
So, if this is something you want to develop, I think you look first of all for somebody that can give you inspiration. Somebody who personifies it. Do you say it like this?
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Who is like really expressing the way how you would actually also like to be. If you see some benefit in being so disciplined, in being so focused, in being so strong-minded, then look for a person that maybe is able to inspire you. That automatically means when you see then a person who is like this, you can ask yourself, how did he get there? So you do some research. Maybe you get in contact with the person. Maybe you look at the way of how did he grow up? What type of practices did he do? The way how people are today, the way how you are today, how you are thinking today, how you are looking today, yeah, where your strengths are today, where your weaknesses are today, is not a coincidence. It's all based on how did you grow up, what have you done in the last years growing up. Same for me, okay? And that means on the one side, being able first of all to observe yourself, meaning observe yourself and see what is it that I am lacking, for example. In the martial arts field, I can see very clearly in which areas I still need improvement. But first of all, I need to see it about myself. So how does somebody start? With observation. You need to have, let's say, the courage to look into the mirror and say, okay, this is who I am at the moment, and there are many things I don't like. You need to be able to do this. If you look in the mirror and think all the time, no, I'm anyway the best already, there's nothing to improve, this is not for you. It's okay if this is your attitude. It's not the attitude that makes you continuously develop, which is what this life is about. This life wants you to change. If you go against the change, then is what we say, it's disharmonic. It doesn't fit to the laws of how the rest of the universe is functioning. So you will just end up in having different types of conflicts. Yeah. So observation, looking to yourself and really seeing, is there something that still needs improvement about yourself? Then looking for someone who maybe is inspiring to you, who is able to motivate you, and ask yourself, how did that person get there? What are the ingredients for you to get a strong mind? What are the ingredients for you to become disciplined? Yeah? What are the practices necessary in order to develop a strong legs? What are the methods necessary to develop a deep body awareness? So, and this is exactly the next point where we are now. Also, maybe as the final point, we are not missing knowledge in this world. Also on YouTube not, also on Google not. It's not like the knowledge that is missing. And many people also know what they want. Yeah? But what is really, really precious is the methods. It's not about what you want. I know what you want. You know what you want. The question is, how are you going to get it? Yeah. And the how, this is where in our tradition we still are so close related. In our hierarchy, there are masters and there are grandmasters. Why are they called like this? Because in the field of martial arts, for example, of the awareness of what is possible to develop in yourself, there are people in this world that are on a different level already, because they have walked this path for 40, 50 years. This is why they are called masters or grandmasters. It has nothing to do if they are more worse as a human being or not. This has nothing to do with that. Human being, we are the same. But when it comes to skill, abilities of how to deal with the inside, how to do any type of skill, then of course there are differences in people. And that means they know how to develop certain things about you. This is why they're called masters. This is why they're called teachers or guides or coaches, because they know where, in which direction to get you to. They have the methods. So, final point, it's not just about knowing what you want. A large amount of lifetime is also going into the fact finding someone, finding something, finding the teaching, finding the method that teaches you how to do it. And this is like maybe something that at the end I would just like to mention. The how is important.
The last question is for the audience, which is two small questions inside of one. Is first, what question would you like to ask to everyone watching this video or listening this interview? And the second one, what small challenge will you give them?
I think I would just combine both of them. We talked all the time already about what can we do to improve ourselves. That's it. This is the question, and at the same time it's the challenge. So I would just like to ask the audience then, in this sense, to just look in the mirror and figure out just one thing. What is there that you would like to improve about yourself? This is the first part. And the second part, the challenging part, is now find a way how to make it possible, how to make it take form. Yes, the theory and the practice, knowing you need to change, and then finding a way, the action to do the change. Yin and the yang, both of it.
You have been challenged and you have been given a question to ask for yourself. Thank you, Shifu Shi Heng Yi, for this time, for hosting the bootcamp again, and for the work you've been doing here, for one more year, for one more interview. Looking forward for the next one. And this is Disrupt Everything podcast series with Shi Heng Yi. And if you don't disrupt yourself, somebody or something will disrupt you, and this always will be more painful. So find risk before risk finds you. Thank you.